So what's up, everybody? We're with Matt Gresia, TikTok content creator and founder and owner of his sock company, Canswer Sock Co. So how are you doing today, bro?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Glad to be here.
So yeah, man, just before even starting this, you mentioned that you quit your job exactly a year ago. And when I was on your page, your TikTok page, I saw one of your videos, I think it was a week ago, and you're telling us exactly that you took that leap, you quit your 9-to-5 job, and you went into content creation on TikTok, and you created your business, Canswer Co, right? Canswer Sock Company.
Yeah.
So, okay, describe that moment, or actually just tell us like who you are and what you do and kind of why you got into content creation and entrepreneurship.
Yeah. So I basically during college, I felt like I wasn't really learning, like, I guess, as much as I wanted to be learning. And so I kind of wanted to start a business. And then, I mean, it had always sort of been a thing in the back of my head, but then wanting to learn more, I was like, okay, well, maybe if I'm a little more hands-on, then I'll learn more. And so during college, I started Canswer Sock Co. It was super small. A buddy of mine who like had a clothing brand helped me start it out and like do all the legal stuff and whatnot. And yeah, at the time I only had really like a few pairs of socks at a time. And then I did a collaboration with Mac Miller's DJ, and they like took the socks on tour. It was like this whole crazy thing. And from that moment I was like, okay, I can do this. Like beforehand it was sort of like, I'm just going to try this. Like maybe it won't last forever, or maybe, just basically have something that I can learn from and also contribute to a good cause. Cause I use the sales like to donate towards cancer research and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then when that happened, I was like, okay, maybe I can like really commit to this. So then I like put some of my own money into it and like trying to grow. And then I graduated college and everything sort of just like stopped. And it was like a scary feeling because I had gotten a job just doing like finance and accounting stuff. And I hated it. It sucked. And it just, I mean, I'm not like trying to like talk down on that stuff, but it just wasn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember, so I started there in June, and then I left there on September 9th on my birthday, a little bit more than a year ago, a couple days more than a year ago. And so then I left there, and it was like pure fear. It was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like all my friends have like regular jobs, and it was scary. So after a little bit, I was like, you know what? Maybe I can get a job and just have it be something that applies more to what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I started going on interviews for companies in fashion. And I meet this woman who owns the biggest women's sweater wholesaler in the world. And I was like super nervous. I couldn't even believe I got the interview. And so we're just talking, and she's like, okay, well, tell me about yourself. Like, tell me, like, what do you love, And so she tells me her story. It was like super inspiring. She's a South Korean immigrant. She like grew up working in a sweatshop, and she came here basically with nothing, and then started this business that basically started doing hundreds of millions of dollars a year. And it was super inspiring. And so then she asked me about what I like to do. So I told her about cancer, and she was like, look, you seem bright. And she was like, I'd love to hire you, but I think that you should be doing this. And she's like, you're young, like now's the time to be taking this risk. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? She's right. And saw the interview, and I'm like, oh man, like that's not what I expected. And basically from that point on, she ended up sort of becoming my mentor. She helped like fund a whole like rebranding. And yeah, and then from that point I like really expanded the company more than it was before. Not that it's like huge now, but much more than it was before. had everything like way more legitimate. And then just over the years working with influencers to help like grow my brand, um I'm naturally like friends with a bunch of like YouTubers and stuff now. And so I remember I was out to lunch with one of my buddies who does YouTube probably in January, and he's like, dude, this TikTok stuff is crazy. Like, you got to try it. And so I just like download the app and I'm looking through it, and he was like swearing by it. And I'm like, all right, let me try it out. Cause I had always sort of wanted to start a YouTube channel, but
Mm-hmm.
I could never fully commit. Like I didn't know. I feel like all of my friends have like their thing. So like one of my buddies is like a travel YouTuber. A few of them do like have like skateboarding based YouTube channels. And I just never had like a thing, you know? So I didn't really know ever what to do with YouTube. But then on this, it sort of clicked to me that like I'm super interested in like how much and how people make money online. And I know that a lot of people are. So I was like, I could do these short form videos. Like it won't take too much of my time. I can just do it and see how it works. And so then I started doing it, and probably like a month in, I had like 2 or 3 thousand followers. And then I got this one, I posted this one video that just randomly blew up. It got like, I think now it's at like more than 4 million views. And like in one day, I was just like, it just went to like probably 20,000 followers. And I'm like, oh dang, like this is real. So then from that point on, I sort of just like committed, and here I am. We're almost at 1 million followers.
Okay, wait. So when you quit your job, were you at a point where you're like, okay, I'm just done. I can't handle this anymore. And like, did you kind of have a plan to kind of sustain yourself?
No.
No, you just went for it.
Dude, I just went for it. I just went for it.
What was crazy is that like you went to look for another job that kind of revolved around what you really enjoyed, right? I don't think, even though you studied finance and accounting, you weren't really feeling that job, right? Maybe it was that one particular job, but since you applied to the other company, waiting to get in that company, that lady, the entrepreneur, she's like, no, I think you're bright. You should try something on your own. And that surprised you, that shook you, right?
Right.
And it's kind of cool because I think that without those words, without that action, maybe like it's like these little things that kind of changes someone's like path, like the butterfly effect, like something so small like that can kind of change the impact of someone's career or someone's entrepreneurial journey. And that's exactly what happened. Yeah. Like you could have been maybe working with her, killing it, making a good salary, helping her expand the business. But no, instead of, you kind of did your own independent thing. And I think that's really dope that she kind of saw that vision. She could have easily hired you, but she kind of gave you that, that boost of confidence to start your own thing. So then, so you end up being independent. And when you blew up on TikTok, did you kind of think of a way, oh, maybe I can monetize this with my brand or what?
Definitely. That was definitely, I mean, in the beginning, it was more so just out of like interest, just to see if I could do it. And then when it blew up, companies started to reach out and like, hey, we want you to promote our product or service or whatever. And then I'm like, like maybe I could like start making money off this. And then, I mean, before that, I was like, you know what, if this does work, I could use it to promote the brand. Like instead of using other influencers to promote the brand, I could use myself and other influencers,
Yeah. I mean, have you ever thought of creating your own I don't know if you have already, but creating your own separate TikTok account for a Canswer Sock company?
I have one. I don't use it too much. I should use it more. But yeah, I do have one.
You just more focus on your personal branding because since it's blown up, you kind of just focus on that now.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so that moment where your friend just tells you TikTok is crazy, you hop on it, you get 2,000 followers, and then you go to 20,000 followers. Once you see that it was real, You know, there's a difference between someone telling you that it's real and you actually seeing it. And so once that moment hit, you kind of went full time on TikTok?
Well, yeah, I mean, between TikTok and Canswer, just went full time with both.
Okay. So how did your day look like? Or maybe it still looks like the same thing. Like you create X amount of videos a day and then you focus on your company.
Yeah. So, I'll usually try to like split my day up, and I'll like work on Canswer, like new releases, making sure like all the product gets out like for orders and stuff, um, ordering new things, designing things, whatever, working on partnerships. And then the other half of the day I'll make videos and do whatever for TikTok, like make videos, answer emails for like brand partnerships and stuff. Like as you get more and more followers, it's like now I used to like reach out to brands to like partner with them on like sponsored posts and stuff, and now it's like there's so many brands reaching out that it's like you can't even get to all of them.
So how many brands reach out to you nowadays?
um a lot. Like
Yeah.
I mean every day. Yeah, it's every day.
And like you kind of work with ones that you believe in, or do you just don't want to work with them exactly? Not yet, at least.
So I mean in the beginning it was like, oh man, this company offered me $500 to make a post, I'll do it. But now it's more so like, now that there's like more of a selection, it's like I try to not promote things that I don't believe in or think would maybe be useful to my audience.
Mm-hmm. Like, do you feel that you kind of lose? People might say like, yeah, if you kind of promote other people's products, you lose some of your brand equity. But if you're sponsoring or promoting your own set of products, then that's okay. But if you do it continuously, you know, just getting like a $500 a post, do you think that's true that you can actually lose some brand equity if you continue doing brand deals and brand sponsorships?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's definitely a thing. But I think it also just depends. Like I try not to do, that's why like over the last month or so I've seen like insane growth. Like it's gone in the last month I've gained like 650,000 followers. So I had this moment where as I was getting more followers and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm good with money. I don't need to like take everything that comes across my plate. Um, it was like I had a moment where I was like, you know what? I can just charge more and do them less often. So
Mm-hmm.
that was definitely, I definitely considered that because I was like, I don't want people to like be annoyed and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
Now, just rolling back to when you took that leap of like quitting your job, and some people might say, "Hey, Matt, that's not a good idea." Like, did you have student loans you had to pay, or did you kind of have a safety net? Because if you don't have any debt, then you're, I guess, more or less off the hook. Maybe worry about bills, but other than that, if you don't have to worry about college loans, student debt, then you could take that leap. It'll be a lot more. I guess you have more reassurance in working
yeah,
on what you
right.
want.
No, I mean, I was all good with that. So I was definitely
Okay.
like, yeah, it
Okay.
was definitely like perfect timing, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's good too because you did it right kind of after college. And you're still young. You know, I think if you're young and you have that ambition, you're only going to create like a trap within yourself of not regret. You know, I think that's the biggest thing, having that regret. And if you didn't take that leap of faith, then you wouldn't be here today. And you'd probably still be pondering, oh, like, should I still do this? You know, but if you stuck with your job, do you think there's a possibility that you could have got to the position you are today if you worked literally from, you know, after your job, like 6 o'clock to, I don't know, 2 a.m. in the morning?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is possible. Um, but I think it kind of depends on the person, you know, like for me,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I feel like with like a traditional job, it can be hard for me to focus on other things. Especially, I mean, I also guess it depends on the job too. Like mine was like particularly draining. So like by the end of the day, I was just like, I got no energy, you know?
But what was it like? were you moving around a lot? Did you feel like a cog? Like what was that exact emotion that made you feel like, okay, I gotta get the hell out of here?
um, well, I mean, the work environment was pretty toxic. That was the first thing that was like, ooh, I don't like this. Like my boss was sort of like the kind of person that's like, I'm your boss. You do as I say. I
Mm,
don't care what you think. I don't care about you. I sign your check and that's all. So it was like that kind of thing, which I hate. Just like, I don't know, like everyone is a person, like you got to treat everyone equally. Um, and then also it was just stressful because I was sort of like, I mean, it was my first ever full-time job, right? So like I didn't have any experience other than like some random internships and stuff, but I was doing some like accounting stuff that was things that you really can't mess up on. So you
mm-hmm.
like really have to focus. And yeah. So I guess that was the thing that was sort of like, okay, I'm drained. I'm going to bed at 9:30, 10 o'clock every night when normally I'm up until like 2 a.m. And then it's like every day is sort of the same. And all of the things that I was doing were like very dry. Nothing was like fun. And so I was like, you know what, if I have a chance to do something that I love for work, then like now's the time to find that out.
Mm-hmm. And how did you kind of cope that anxiety, that fear that you got after you left your job? Because I think it's a good point to bring this up because during COVID, a lot of people, especially that I know too, they had to be let off. Like the company that I work for, they also took a huge hit. Everyone took a hit, so they had to lay off a bunch of people. The job market is extremely tough, um, and people that are in that position can be very afraid and very anxious. Did you kind of have like a mechanism to kind of cope with that, or to give yourself a boost? Like, hey, I'm going to start scaling my business. I'm going to start new things. Kind of give yourself like some a moral boost.
Yeah. So it was really scary in the beginning, like I said, because it was sort of just like, all of my friends have traditional jobs. So it's like everybody wants to like go out on the weekends and like people like move to the city. Like my best friend's like, dude, when are we moving into New York City? And I'm like, I don't know, man. And so in the beginning, it's like it can be like awkward socially, even like
Mm-hmm.
explaining to people what you do. Um, but I think what I did was I sort of just tried to ignore all of that, and I was like, listen, if I focus on this, and I think that I got lucky with like the amount of time that it took me to get to this place. Like I think it takes people years and years, and so I definitely got lucky that like a year later it was like my life was totally different. But basically what I did was like tried to ignore all of that. And then I also started focusing a lot on like scheduling things. Um and maybe this sounds weird, but I took on more responsibility. Like I got an office before I probably should have, but it sort of like fueled me to work harder. And also just having like a place to go instead of like being trapped in the house all the time is like definitely definitely changes the way, at least for me, the way that I work.
No, I totally agree. I think if you stay in one place and just study, dude, like you can be efficient, you can be productive, but over time that kind of diminishes. But if you go somewhere else to study, you know, that's what I did in school. At least I had to find like 3 designated spots to study because if I just stay in one spot the whole week, then I know my productivity will go down. But if you have like a designated spot, a couple spots, then that for me at least certainly helped.
For sure.
But talking about the concept of like internet money, like if you think about it, like if you talk to like our parents and you'd be like, hey, this guy is making millions of dollars off meme pages or being a content creator. That, if you think about it, that sounds kind of crazy, you know, just literally making money off social media. I mean, of course, like our generation, that's really normal. We're living in it right now. But if you explain that to older folks or people who are not, I guess, exposed to that market, the entrepreneurial, I guess, way of making money, internet money, then that's just completely foreign. Who would have thought that you can make money as a YouTuber, content creator, influencer, you know? And it's crazy. E-commerce sounds more realistic, but as a content creator, it's like, whoa, you're doing that full time. And I can see why. Like if you tell that to someone, it's like, hey, is that even a real career? Is that a real thing? Of course it is. And I can see why some people who are killing it or started to make a killing it on it can feel somewhat, you know, not ashamed, but I guess cast it out because they're not part of the corporate world. They're doing something different, but it's where the money is coming from. You're providing value in a different way.
Right. No, totally. And on top of that, it's like right now, I mean, I'm happier, so it's definitely better, but also I'm working harder than I ever did. Like I'm working way harder now than I was when I had my 9 to 5, you know, like so I think a lot of people maybe like our parents' age would be like, this kid, like a lot of them don't even know who like Charlie D'Amelio is or like David Dobrik or whatever, but a lot of them would be like, man, like this guy David Dobrik, like I don't even understand how he makes so much money. Like he just throws up these videos and like whatever, you know, like, but a lot of people don't see all of the work that goes behind it, and like especially at that level, like those people are working hard, and yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I think just getting an audience as a content creator, YouTuber, you know, that first 1,000 followers from what I hear is extremely difficult. But there's still a lot of work to be done once you hit the the 100,000 follower mark, the million, because from there you have to kind of put on your business hat, know how to leverage your account to either promote your products or talk to brands, not get ripped off. And there's a lot of things to learn along the way. And I'm pretty sure you didn't know much about like, okay, how am I going to make money of making content on TikTok? But you learn along the way, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think every entrepreneur doesn't have it, or maybe every aspiring entrepreneur doesn't know all the answers. And I think it's just important to kind of take that step. Um, Maybe not as drastic as you did it, as quitting your job cold turkey, but you could do that if you could afford it, I guess. But I guess just taking that first step is the most important thing, no matter how scary it is. And yeah, if you're really young, just take advantage of your youth, I'd say.
For sure. And TikTok is just like, at least right now, hopefully it like doesn't get banned or anything. But aside from that, like it's the best way to go as far as like starting to create content right now. You know, like Instagram is dead. YouTube is not dead, but it's really hard to grow on YouTube. Um, and yeah, TikTok is just like it just works. It works so well. Um, and like there's always, like you said before, like the challenge of like getting your first 1,000 followers. Um, but on TikTok it goes fast, man. Like I convinced one of my friends to start a TikTok account a few weeks ago, maybe like 3 weeks ago, a month tops, and like he's already got like 3,500 followers, and he had his first 1,000 followers in like a week or a little more maybe. But you don't see that kind of stuff on Instagram or YouTube or whatever.
Now, have you thought of like, do a lot of people hit you up like, hey Matt, I need help on growing my TikTok? Do you kind of get a lot of those DMs?
Yeah, so I'm actually I do get that a lot, and I think I'm gonna I hate the whole like course thing. I don't want to like sell a course. I just feel like it sounds like scammy. Um but I'm thinking of doing like a course type of thing on YouTube that's free. Basically just like explaining, I guess, how I grew and whatnot. Because a lot of people do reach out and ask me how
Yeah.
I'm growing so fast.
I think once a lot of people start asking, not for a service exactly, but you can kind of use that as an indicator, like, hey, maybe I should do something with it. And I think that YouTube idea is good because if TikTok goes away, then YouTube will be a manner at which you can, maybe move your audience from TikTok to YouTube. If you diversify your social media platforms, you kind of grow more of an authority across all the social media platforms. So it can be very beneficial to you. I guess more streams of income, especially if you have 10,000 followers on YouTube and maybe eventually 20 and 100,000. So I think there's a lot of ways that you can take this, and maybe you could go full-time or part-time, maybe creating your course down the line if you don't want to do it now, on how to grow on social media, because it's definitely an art. There's a lot of nuances, I think, that one has to know on how to grow on a particular platform like TikTok.
Yeah, it's definitely not that it's difficult, but at least for me, like I picked up on small things along the way that worked. And so like now I have like a sort of like formula to my videos that like I know what's going to do well. I guess like you never know exactly how well something's going to do because a lot of it does have to do with just like luck and like how it hits the algorithm and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I know that like basically every video, I mean, some videos I post just because I'm like, I just want to post this. I like this. But for the most part, a lot of the videos, I'm like, this could get more than 1 million views, like that's usually my standard for it is like, I always try to get like 1 million or more views. It's
Mm-hmm.
always my goal.
But what is it exactly that catches people's attention? Can it be like the tone of your voice, the amount of pop-ups for every 2 seconds you have on there? Because, nowadays people's attention span is very, very short. And if you have a lot more things and, a lot more transitions, a lot more pop-ups, then I think people will be a lot more engaging.
Yeah. I think for me, so like I really don't use that many of like the effects at all. I don't use any of the transitions. I never really use like music in the background. Um and I know a lot of people do and it helps a lot of people, but it's the type of thing where it's sort of just like this has worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
So if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Um so for me, it's like I'll come up with an idea for a video and then it's like, okay, well, what am I going to title this video? Like, how am I going to make somebody want to watch this? And it's all about the first few seconds. It's like in the first frame, I always try to talk like a little bit faster and like sound a little bit more excited. And then I also use the green screen effect. So like I'll make a video. Obviously I make videos about people who are popular. So like today I made a video about Post Malone and like how much money he made off of his song Congratulations. So I'll have a picture of Post Malone behind me. So like it helps somebody get the message a little bit quicker. Um and so I think like all of those things sort of add up, just like talking a little bit faster, making sure the video is something that people would be interested in. The green screen background is important because it helps people get the picture quicker. Um, and yeah, that's it. Other than that, I feel like, to be honest, I feel like the first frame of the video, the first like little part of the video is probably the most important because once you have someone's attention, they're probably going to watch the rest of the video if it's like 20 or 30 seconds. Um, so that to me has been the most important thing, I think.
Okay. In terms of the duration of the video, do you kind of set yourself a ceiling, like no more than 17 seconds, for example?
I know some people do. I don't. It's weird.
No.
Like some of my, I mean, just because in my experience, it doesn't really matter. Like my biggest video is like almost 40 seconds. Um, and it got 9.5 million views. So it's good enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Something
so yeah.
Something else that I caught that was really cool was you kind of had some collaborations, or you had some videos with Taylor Price and Mikey Taylor. You know, you were both in the video. Can you kind of talk about how that came about? Like, whose idea was it, and how did you make those videos?
Yeah. So that's something I'm sort of loosely working on now, is like incorporating other people into the videos. And so basically what happened was I had posted this video about Chick-fil-A, and that was my biggest video ever. It got 9.5 million views, like I just said. And it was one of the first videos that I did where it was like, you ever see those? I'm sure you watch a lot of TikTok, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So like those videos where somebody's like sort of talking to themselves.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
so it was like one of those videos. And once that did well, I was like, well, what if I could do this just like with people who are like successful in what they do? You know, like a quick like almost like a 30-second like really mini interview kind of thing where I'm like,
Yeah.
what's the most important few questions I would want to ask these people? And so Mikey Taylor is do you know who he is?
No, but I watched that video because I first
Mm.
watched the video of Taylor Price. Then I scrolled down a bit, and then you did it with Mikey Taylor. I was like, oh, I know he's another influencer. Let me
Yeah,
check
yeah.
out the video.
So Mikey is someone who sort of like inspired me since I was super young. Like I grew up, when I was growing up, I used to like skateboard a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a professional skateboarder. It's funny, like I literally have a picture with him that I took with him when I was like 12, like as a fan. And so he was a professional skateboarder, and he had gotten hurt, and then he sort of transitioned into investing into real estate. And so he built like his own real estate empire, and it was just super inspiring to me. So we connected, and I was like, let's do a video. And then yeah, we did it. And I'm sort of just trying to like expand on that now. Like I have a few other people lined up. Um, but yeah, I'm trying to get some like really cool people, because I'm not like dying to do collaborations. So whoever I'm doing collaborations with is like someone that I think is really cool.
Oh, for sure. And I think, you know, you create a win-win-win scenario for everyone because number one, both accounts, both pages get more awareness and you're providing value. When I saw those videos, those two clips, I was like, wow, this is like literally a 15-second value-packed podcast somewhat. You know what I mean? It's super condensed. And that's what the beauty of TikTok. It's like a condensed version of YouTube. You get your instant value or instant entertainment in a matter of seconds. And that's what makes TikTok, I think, the number one social media platform as of this moment.
Definitely. And also as a creator, like personally, I love the challenge of like, okay, I only have a short amount of time to work with. Like, how can I get this idea across fully in this short amount of time? And like you said, nobody has an attention span anymore. And so, I mean, that's obviously why TikTok works so well. But that stuff's just super interesting to me.
Yeah. And it's just a new form of content. You know, it's kind of cool. Like speaking about social media in general, each social media kind of has their own unique way of doing things. You know, before Instagram had stories, you know, Snapchat was, you know, the pioneer of stories, but now Instagram kind of took over that. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Snapchat isn't as big as it was before. We were all scared that Instagram was going to take over TikTok because Instagram Reels, but we soon figured out that that wasn't the case. Reels is maybe at the moment not as strong, certainly right not now. Twitter is kind of like instant information, but via text. YouTube is very long form video, and then TikTok is just very condensed, you know, footage. So each social media platform has its own category, and I think if you dominate on one category, then there's always room for more, I guess, um, innovative social media platforms. Because who would have thought that a new social media platform was going to pop out like that and, you know, be number one?
Right. Yeah. I mean, there was like a period of time where social media got kind of boring. You know, it was like
Yeah, just the same.
right. Yeah. Like right before TikTok was popular, it was like just felt impossible to get anywhere on any of those platforms. But it's nice now because you can use TikTok, like you said before, to drive traffic to those other platforms.
Oh yeah, they can add those links. You know, you can have the Instagram or YouTube link directly on your profile page. So that's very, very convenient.
Hmm. Yeah, one of my friends has probably like 300,000 followers on Instagram, and he's gaining more Instagram followers from his TikTok traffic than he is from posting on Instagram.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
But you mentioned that Instagram is dead. Like in dead or in what respect? Because I do feel that Instagram is the hub of where businesses kind of promote their products, where personal brands are really being made. It's still, I think, TikTok and Instagram are tied, but they each have its own dynamic. You know, if you want to build up a new personal brand, a new business, then TikTok can be for you. But I think it all depends on the demographic and how you approach each one. But the organic reach is almost virtually, I'm not going to say virtually impossible. It's extremely difficult to grow on Instagram though.
Yeah, no, that's what I meant by Instagram being dead. I don't think like the whole platform's dead. It's just, yeah, like you said, like the organic reach is just like it's nearly impossible to
Yeah.
just grow entirely on Instagram. Like I love Instagram, but um yeah, I mean it's just like you got to be driving traffic to your Instagram account from somewhere else, which
Mm-hmm.
is likely TikTok.
Yeah. So now just going back to your business, Canswer Sock Co. How do you kind of find the designs for it? I know you have like 60 plus designs on your site, and the site itself looks pretty darn dope. I'm not gonna lie. Like it seems like did you make that? Or like how did you kind of start?
Yeah, so I mean when I started it was like it was very amateur. Um I built a website on Big Cartel. I had two different designs. Actually, no, it was one design, two different colorways. And it was mostly just like friends that would buy it. And it's funny, I ordered, I think it was almost 2,000 pairs of socks. Way too much. And so it was mostly like friends buying it, whatnot. And yeah, I realized that I needed to figure out how to get rid of everything. And yeah, I mean, it was sort of, it like progressed slowly. Like then I switched to Shopify and I built like a better website and then more designs and I did some collaborations, which was cool. And then it didn't really get like real until the beginning of this year, which is when I sort of worked with my mentor to rebuild it basically. Like we rebuilt literally everything, including the website. Like we got somebody who she does design professionally, um, and so we got somebody to redesign the whole website. Like now it's not just a Shopify template. And then with the sock designs, um, we just like took inspiration from different places, and I learned how to do a little bit of design. And we found a new manufacturer. We switched manufacturing from China to Italy, and redesigned the packaging, um, built like a more efficient like fulfillment system and whatnot. So yeah.
I was gonna say a lot of people may think like, "Hey, Matt, you're just a content creator. That's all I know you as, right?" But you know, listening to you, listening to what you did, making entrepreneurial moves, you kind of see yourself more as an entrepreneur now. Because I don't know if you're like, you know, I don't know if you had any side hustles before college, but do you really see yourself more as a fully fledged entrepreneur? Because you know, people just don't leave their jobs like that to start something new, and that's like a big entrepreneur move that you hear nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I definitely see myself more that way. I guess I never really like thought about it, but it kind of makes sense now, like looking back at, I guess, just how I was when I was younger. Like I never, like I did well in school, but I never liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I just never liked anything traditional, I guess, like, or not anything, but like there were just a lot of things that I didn't, that were traditional, that I just never liked. And that's why, like, even going back to skateboarding when I was younger, right? It's like most people like to play baseball or football or whatever. And that was a big thing to me, that, like, I mean, no, I when I was younger, I liked those things as well. But then at some point, I was like, you know what? I hate like having a coach, and I hate not being able to do this unless I have a team, and like whatever and whatever. And that's sort of like what led me to skateboarding, is like I can do this all on my own. Um, and so there was like that, and then also just like not loving school and whatever. And then I would sometimes have random side hustles, like I used to resell Supreme products. And so I guess like now it's, yeah, I guess it's not really surprising, but I kind of always had that mindset.
Yeah. So it's kind of like the world, the system kind of made you more, I guess, to try to make you live life the way it's supposed to be. But naturally within your DNA, as a person, you always had that entrepreneurial tendency of, doing things out of the norm. And now that you had that freedom, just leaving your job, having that fear, but having that establishment of like, hey, I'm shit. Like I'm scared, shitless. I got to do something. But you have an open canvas of doing whatever you want. You had the Canswer Sock Co, TikTok, and you kind of went for it. You didn't have to rely or worry about, time being wasted with your 9 to 5. You just had the world. You had the whole day to yourself working on your projects. And I guess that just amplified you as an entrepreneur to work on what you really wanted at the end of the day.
Yeah, right. I mean, at the end of the day, it was always just about me wanting to do what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess at the end of the day, like everyone wants to do what they want. Um, but I guess some people want that more than others, and I guess that's why there's entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm. Because you said that during your 9 to 5, you felt like tired, right? You couldn't do anything after. But I would assume that you can work 12-hour days and probably feel tired, but because you're working on things that you love, it doesn't even feel like work, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I mean that's the goal for everyone, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I mean that's definitely how it feels. Like I'm still tired at the end of the day, but being that I'm not tired for somebody else
Mm-hmm.
is different.
Yeah. And I think that's why it's important to kind of find the passion that you like, just find your passion and create a business around that. Because if you kind of do something that just for the money or something that you don't like, you're kind of creating your own 9 to 5 job, your own little jail cell, and you're not going to be happy at the end of the day. Like, yes, you're not going to have a boss, but subconsciously you're going to be bossed around, because you're not doing something that you love. And if that pops out, if you do very well, then you're kind of forced or to stick with that one business or one venture. So it's always important to work on something that you genuinely liked. If not, you're going to end up quitting probably.
For sure. And I mean that even goes for like the other way around, right? Like some people love the structure of having a 9 to
Oh
5
yeah.
job. I mean, I just think everyone should do what they love. Like if that's what you like,
Mm-hmm.
do it. Like
Oh, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's true. You can't just demonize the 9 to 5. I've been saying that for a while too with other people, but yeah, it's all preference at the end of the day. You just got to lean towards the things that you love. If you like, people telling you what to do, that's fine. But I think it comes to like leadership too, because say if your boss, the boss that you had was cool, right? He say he wasn't like an asshole or anything like that, and he treated you with respect, then maybe you would have stayed in that one position. But the fact that maybe the ambience of that one job, your boss being a douche, kind of all these things added up for you leaving that position. But if that never happened, if you had a better work environment, then maybe you could have been happy and working there still.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I'm a big believer in like, I guess just like the universe and whatever's meant to be will be, and things always line up and work out.
Mm-hmm. Where do you think are like some golden nuggets throughout your journey that are kind of key for any new aspiring entrepreneurs that kind of don't know what to do in life, but they want to make a business, they want to do something on their own? Like, what do you think are like key golden nuggets that you kind of learned throughout the way?
You mean just like as far as advice?
Yeah, it can be very general, something that you
Well,
experienced.
I think like what we were talking about with doing what you love is the most important thing. Um, and then from there on, I feel like as long as you're doing what you love, if you treat that like a job, it'll work, you know? And I mean, I always believed that, but I never really saw it until it happened for me. And like, it's true, you know? Like a lot of people are like, oh man, like this 9 to 5 job sucks and whatever, and I want to do this. But it's like, no matter what you want to do, like if you want to make music or make movies or be a YouTuber or have a clothing company or whatever, it's like, if you're putting as much work, if you're really putting of quality time a week into something, it's going to work,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And it's like, if it doesn't work, then maybe you're not passionate about it, or maybe you need to change something or whatever. But it's like, you should always pay attention to, like, I guess your system and what you're doing. And if things aren't working, then you adjust things, right? Like that's one thing that still to this day I'm doing. Like, it's like I set goals. Like, for example, for TikTok, it's like, I want every single video I post to get 1 million or more views, right? So like at some point it was like, when I first started, it's like, okay, I want every video to get 1,000 views. And then it was like, I want every video to get 10,000 views. And then it was 100,000, whatever. And so it's like, I will just like, I figured out a system to get me 10,000 views every video. And then I adjusted it until, I mean, now most of my videos are over 100,000 views. And it's like, then I adjusted it. Now most of my videos are over 100,000 views. A lot of them, a lot more than 3 months ago, are getting millions of views. And so it's like, just keep adjusting things until it works better and better and better.
For sure. I think you always have to find it's I think like in terms of humans, you always want to do more. You're never going to be happy of just making $1,000 a week. Eventually you want to make 10,000, then 100,000 and so on. You know, that's why when you look at Jeff Bezos, people are like, hey, you made enough money now. Like, just stop, just chill, take a vacation. But I just think that it's part of being human, of just wanting more and doing more. You know, I don't think you're going to set a plateau within yourself. You always want to expand and, I guess, reach the limits at what you're physically and mentally capable of, you know?
Yeah. And I think, I mean, I guess expanding on what you just said, it's like, you set these goals for yourself and you're like, you know, if I had 100,000 followers and I get like 2 million views a month, I'll be happy, you know? Like that'd be, but then you realize that that's like not how it should be. Cause then it's like, you get, then for me, it's like, I got to 100,000, right? And then it's like, this is cool. And then like an hour later, you're like, okay, well, when am I going to get to 500,000? When I'm about to get to 1 million now. And I remember, I remember probably at the time that my first video blew up and I got to 20,000, the thought of having 1 million was just like, it was not even there, you know? It was like, I mean, there's no way.
Yeah.
And it was like, you know, it'd be crazy if I had 1 million followers, but then you sort of just get used to it as it goes. And it's like, I'm excited for 1 million. And I think that I'm going to be super happy and sort of have like a moment of reflection on how this has all happened. But at the same time, it's like, that's going to last for like an hour. And then I'm going to be like, okay, well, when am I going to get to 5 million?
Yeah.
It's
You're not
like
satisfied.
we always just want to grow. And then even past that, like lately I've been thinking of, it's like, okay, well, my videos do really well and I have a lot of followers, but now it's like, how do I make like a legacy? Like how do
Yeah.
I, now it's like more than followers. It's like, well, how do I change people's lives? Like how do I really make a name for myself?
Is that something that you're working on, like a goal or a project that you have in mind? You don't really grasp, you don't have the exact idea, but you want to, create that legacy, either that's with your personal brand or with multiple businesses, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think something that I've been thinking about lately is like, I guess just making my content more meaningful. Like I throw in some like tips and stuff every now and then, and I think people like learn a little bit, but it's mostly entertaining. Um and like more so just interesting like fun facts about money and stuff, but it's like now I'm sort of more focused on making that content more impactful.
Mm-hmm.
So like after I hit a million, it's like, okay, well, I have enough followers now, or not enough. It'll never be enough, but it's like I have a bunch now. So maybe it'd be better to sort of do both, kind of find the balance between like, okay, I'm still posting content that's uh like fun facts and entertaining and stuff, and then at the same time post stuff that is maybe like a little more impactful, like kind of like the stuff that we're talking about now on this podcast. It's like try to show people how I did it and how they can do it too. Cause it's like at the end of the day, like something that I really, really believe in is people are always like, people always tell me like, oh man, like you're so lucky, like you got all these followers and like that's so sick and like I wish I could do that and whatever. And it's like, you can, like I'm not special. Like I mean, not that I'm not, like we're all special.
Mm-hmm.
As like cliche as that sounds, it's like you can do it the same way I did. Like really anyone can do it. And I really, really, really believe in that. Anyone can do it no matter what. And so yeah, I guess I just want to show people how they can do it and try and change some people's perspectives on things like that.
Mm-hmm. Nah, it's definitely cool, it goes to show that, I mean, I don't know what other talents that you have. If you see, for example, like Leonardo DiCaprio, if you were to make a TikTok account in the first day, he probably get 1 million followers, right? But with your average Joe or someone who's just starting out, fresh out of high school or middle school, whatever it is, and they may think, hey, I don't have a lot of value to provide. I think you just get the ball rolling, just start, and just find ways to be entertaining, kind of what you're doing with your content. Um, just being funny, being attractive, or just doing something that provides value and entertainment. And you just got to start, like you said, and you don't have to wish, you kind of just have to start. And if it fails, then you kind of move on to the next thing. But as long as you kind of persist, um, I know on TikTok it's still pretty much organic. You can still blow up, but it might just be a matter of time where like it gets like Instagram and the organic reach just declines. I don't know if it has declined already with the algorithm changes, but I think the sooner the better. You definitely had that first movers advantage. You said you started half a year ago, and during that time it was just crazy. Like, people were blowing up left and right. And if you had that first movers advantage, then you're definitely going to blow up. Same thing with Instagram. When it first kind of blew up, people started making meme pages, and those meme pages just started skyrocketing, and people made tons of money off those meme pages with sponsorships, branded posts, and it's crazy, with social media, Instagram, TikTok, you name it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, even like for TikTok now, it's still like, it's not too late.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like some people, there are definitely people that are sort of on the fence about like, well, is it too late? Is it even worth it? And it's definitely worth it.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's still a good skill set to learn, because say TikTok dies, we all know that this concept of very short form video, 15, 60-second short term content, is people love it. You know, it's not like this concept is going to be completely dead. And that's why you see all these other social media platforms kind of copying TikTok. I mean, Instagram Reels being one of them. I mean, Thrillist, Dub Smash. There's more coming along the way that has the exact same sort of, I guess, not algorithm, but structure to it. So say if these new social media platforms blow up, maybe Instagram Reel blows up, Thrillist or Dub Smash blows up, you can still apply those same methodologies that you use on TikTok, and you'll be easily using those same skills on these platforms, and you can eventually grow that audience too, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, whether or not you want to necessarily apply it to yourself, like this is something that I was thinking about the other day. It was like, what if TikTok goes down, right? Like I lose this all. And it's like if at the end of the day, me or anybody else who's been doing this for a little bit, like I still have an advantage over most people who just like have a regular job, you know? Like if TikTok goes down, right? Whenever it's supposed to be the 20th, and I decide, you know what? Maybe I want to get a job, right? Like I could I could get like a social media strategy job for like a big company,
True.
and I'd probably be more likely. I would like to think, I mean, I think that I'm probably more qualified than Jim, who studied marketing and is like 2 years into working on a marketing team or something, you know?
Yeah.
It's like I think it's a really valuable skill to have. And for sure, if I was in the position of a company, I would definitely prefer to hire someone who has like real experience and is like self motivated and whatnot. I would definitely take someone like that over most people who are like traditionally trained.
Mm-hmm. And you probably made a lot of connections along the way, you know, talking to those people, Mikey Taylor, Taylor Price, you know, talking to influencers within your business. You know, I see you have a bunch of influencers wearing your socks, so you can have to establish connections. And I think the longer you are, the more consistent you are, it kind of builds up your portfolio / digital resume. And you start networking with people, and that's just as important, you know, as the followers too. You kind of create a network. You get some information subconsciously, and you can apply that to whatever it is, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, that's something that I definitely learned early on, like, because at least at the time, like, I didn't have a personal brand. So it was like I relied on my network of people. So from early on, it was like I was always trying to be friends with everybody.
Mm-hmm. Now people come
Um,
to you.
what's that?
Now people come to you.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, even still, like, I want to be friends with everybody.
No,
You know,
yeah.
like it's great to know a lot of people and like have a lot of connections and stuff. Um, and yeah, it's not gonna stop.
Yeah, I think just growing your network is really important. That's something that my friends and family told me in college, and I didn't really think too much of it. It's like, hey, I create your LinkedIn. Of course, I created my LinkedIn to get a job. Didn't pay too much attention to it. But once I took social media a bit more seriously, because I'm naturally an introverted person, but once I start talking about things that I like, that I love, it's really easy to talk about those things. But with social media, as I learned along the way, you know, it's kind of have to leverage that, make connections, network, and, you know, a lot of things can go for you, um, you know, both for your personal brand or your business, and just providing value, just straight up value.
Yeah, totally agree.
So yeah, man, I don't want to take too much of your time. We're past the hour mark. So where can people find you? Where can they buy your socks to support cancer research? So yeah, where can they hit you up and find those socks?
So you can find me on TikTok at Matt Gresia, Gresia. You can find my socks at cancersockco.com. That's CANSWER, sockco.com. And on Instagram at Real Matt Gresia.
Dope. And you say you're gonna start your YouTube channel soon? I think you mentioned that? Or
Yeah, so I actually have a video up. Yeah, you can find me on YouTube.
All right, cool.
It's just like the channel is just my name.
All right.
I just posted my first video like a couple weeks ago. I haven't been super on top of it, but I'm getting back on there.
Yeah, it can be tough managing a bunch of like social media platforms all at once. You know, and you focus on TikTok, obviously, but it's good that you have TikTok. I mean, you have YouTube there. If anyone wants to find your YouTube directly on your TikTok, they can just click on the link, right?
Yeah.
So you can find, okay, cool. So yeah, man, I really do appreciate you being on the show. Just learning more about you because, you know, I just thought you were a straight up content creator, but no, you're more to that. I didn't know you dropped out of school like that. Sorry, you dropped out of work and, you know, had to figure things out. And luckily you did. And you're here now putting in that work, that hustle. And so, yeah, man, I really do hope that you hit that 1 million benchmark, that 5 million benchmark of followers, and just expand your personal brand and your business.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate you having me. This was a good conversation.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. All right.